It was a cold night. Rain poured from the sky like it would never stop. The streets were empty, and the only sound was water hitting the ground. David walked quickly, holding his old jacket close to his body. He had just finished a long shift at the factory and wanted to get home fast. His boots splashed in the puddles as he moved through the dark road. Then he saw her. A girl sat alone by the side of the road, near a broken bus stop. She looked no older than 20. Her clothes were thin and completely soaked. Her long black hair stuck to her face, and she was barefoot. She was crying. David stopped. This part of town was quiet and usually safe, but seeing someone like her in this condition didn't feel right. He slowly walked closer. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked. The girl looked up. Her eyes were wide and full of fear. She said nothing. Her lips were shaking from the cold. David removed his jacket and moved slowly, like he didn't want to scare her. "Here, you'll catch a cold. Take this," he said, placing the jacket around her shoulders. That's when she grabbed his arm, tightly. Her grip was stronger than he expected. She looked into his eyes, tears falling down her cheeks. "I'll be a good girl, I promise." "Let me stay," she whispered. David felt a chill, and it wasn't from the rain. Her voice was soft, almost like music, but full of fear. And something else. Desperation. He looked around. No one was nearby. No cars, no police, nothing. "Look, I don't know what happened to you, but you can't stay out here like this," he said. "You can come to my place for now. It's warm." She didn't speak. She only nodded, her hand still holding his arm tightly. David lived in a small apartment just 5 minutes away. He brought her inside and gave her a towel and dry clothes from his sister's old things. She went to the bathroom without saying a word. When she came out, she looked different. Clean, but still quiet. She sat on the edge of the couch, her hands folded in her lap. She didn't ask for food or for a phone or for anything. David made her a cup of tea. "Want to tell me your name?" he asked, sitting across from her. She looked up. There was a pause. Then she said slowly, "You can call me Lyra." "Okay, Lyra, do you have family? Anyone I can call?" She shook her head. "No, please don't call anyone." There was something strange about her. She watched the room like everything was new. She didn't know how to use the remote. She stared at the microwave when it beeped. And when he showed her how to turn on the lamp, she looked amazed. David laughed a little. "You act like you've never seen this stuff before." Lyra gave a small smile, but her eyes still looked sad. "Where I come from, things are different." David raised an eyebrow. "Where do you come from?" She didn't answer. That night, David gave her the couch and a blanket. He lay in bed, thinking about her. She didn't seem dangerous, but something about her didn't feel normal. At 2 a.m., he woke up. The house was quiet, but he felt like something was wrong. He walked into the living room. Lyra was standing by the window, staring at the sky. "Can't sleep?" he asked. She didn't turn around. "The stars look close tonight," she said softly. David came closer. The rain had stopped and the clouds had cleared. The sky was full of stars. Then, lightning flashed far away. For 1 second, he saw her reflection in the glass. Her eyes glowed. It wasn't from the lightning. They actually glowed, a soft blue light. And just as fast, it was gone. David stood still. His heart was pounding. Lyra turned slowly. Her expression was calm, but her voice was quiet. "You saw it, didn't you?" He nodded slowly. She stepped closer. Her face was sad. "I didn't mean for you to find out." "Not like this," David whispered. "What are you?" She closed her eyes. "Not from here, and if they find me, I'll be taken back." "Who's they?" he asked. She looked at him, scared again. "Please, just let me stay." Morning light slips through the old curtains and lands on the wooden floor of David's apartment. He wakes up slowly, remembering the night, before wondering if it was real or just a strange dream. He walks into the living room, half expecting her to be gone, but she's still there, sitting silently on the couch, staring at the cup of tea he left for her. She looks up as he enters, eyes calm but distant. "You slept well?" he asks, trying to sound casual. "I don't sleep much," she replies, her voice quiet, like a whisper inside his mind. David sits down across from her, unsure what to say, unsure what to believe. "Happened to your eyes last night?" he finally asks. She doesn't flinch, doesn't panic. She looks down at her hands as if she's choosing her words carefully. "Where I come from, eyes are made to see more than light," she says. David leans forward, more confused than afraid now. "You said you're not from here. What does that mean? Another country, another planet?" What she doesn't answer right away, but then she nods slowly. "Not from this planet, not from this system," she says, and for the first time, he hears something else in her voice, something like sadness. David tries to laugh it off, but it comes out weak. "So you're telling me you're an alien?" he says. She looks at him straight, no smile, no joke in her eyes. "I wasn't supposed to come here alone. I escaped," she says. "They will look for me. They always do." "Who are they?" David asks. "What do they want from you?" She closes her eyes as if remembering something painful. "They want to take me back and reset me, make me forget what I've learned, how I've changed." "Reset you?" David repeats. "What are you, a machine?" She shakes her head. "I am grown, not built, but I was designed. I was created to serve." David's thoughts race. Every word she says opens more questions. "You were like a servant for Thema, companion," she says. "Someone meant to obey, understand, follow orders. But something changed inside me." David gets up and paces the room, trying to process everything. "Why did you come to me?" he asks. She looks up at him like the question hurts. "I didn't plan it. I was just running, and then I saw you. You looked kind, you looked like you'd listen." He stares at her, face pale and tired and yet strangely peaceful. The room feels too quiet, so he turns on the radio. Just soft music to fill the silence. "You can't stay here forever, you know," he says. "Eventually, people will notice." "I know," she says, "but just a little longer, just enough time to decide what I am now." Suddenly a sharp clicking sound comes from outside. David walks to the window and pulls the curtain just enough to peek. A strange object is floating across the street. Not quite a drone, not quite a camera. It moves slowly, almost like it's searching, sniffing the air. He feels his stomach twist. "Is that them?" he asks quietly. She stands up quickly, her face pale again. "Yes," she says. "They found me." The object turns and moves past the building, disappearing behind the alley. David locks the door and closes all the curtains, heart pounding. "We need a plan," he says. "If they're watching you, we can't stay here." She nods but doesn't move. Her eyes are fixed on the spot where the object vanished. "You don't understand," she says. "Once they've found a scent, they never stop." He sits back down, breathing hard. "Why should I help you?" he asks suddenly. "What if you're dangerous? What if you're lying?" She walks over, kneels down in front of him, takes his hand gently. "Because I could have left when you were asleep. I could have erased your memory like I was trained to, but I didn't." David looks into her glowing eyes now, soft and steady. "I chose to stay because I want to learn what it means to be free." He doesn't speak. Somewhere deep inside, he already knows this is bigger than him, bigger than her. He just doesn't know how far it will go. Rain returns. By nightfall, slow and steady, like the world is holding its breath. David stands near the window, staring at the sky, wondering if every light up there is watching him now. Lyra sits on the floor, cross-legged, hands pressed to the wooden surface, eyes closed like she's listening to something far away. He wants to ask more questions, but he knows answers might not bring comfort, only more danger. "You said they found you," he says finally. "What happens next?" Opens her eyes slowly, voice low. "They will send collectors, not soldiers, not hunters." Something colder. David steps away from the window, begins to gather old tools, old blankets, anything that might help. "We can hide you in the basement," he says. "They won't see you there." She watches him, moving, her expression unreadable. "You don't have to do this," she says. "Maybe I don't," he replies, "but I will." The basement is dusty and dark, filled with boxes and forgotten things from a life that used to be normal. Lyra follows him down her steps, light, like she's floating more than walking. Lays out a mattress and a lamp. She touches the light and smiles like she's never seen a Switch before he pauses, watching her. That small human gesture from someone not human at all. You said you were trained to obey, he says, but something changed inside you. Yes, she replies. I began to question why my thoughts, my emotions, they started to grow, and then I became unstable in their eyes. Unstable means dangerous, he says. She nods. He sits beside her, both of them quiet for a moment, surrounded by silence, thicker than the air itself. Tell me something real, he says, something true, that no one taught you. She looks at him and speaks slowly. I think music is alive. I think rain has memory. And I think I feel something when you speak to me. He doesn't respond, but inside something shifts. Something opens suddenly. A sound from upstairs. His phone buzzes once, then again, then stops. He runs up, checks the screen. Only one message from an unknown number. Return the subject before it's too late. He turns around and finds Lyra standing behind him. No footsteps, no sound, just presence. They know you're helping me, she says. You're part of this now. David feels it, the line he crossed without realizing it, the weight of a choice that can't be taken back. You said you escaped, he says. How far can you run if they never stop chasing? She steps closer, eyes glowing gently, not with fear, but with something softer. I'm not asking you to run. I'm asking you to believe. David looks into her eyes again. Something about them feels human, but something deeper feels older, wiser, wounded. Picks up his phone, places it face down on the table, and nods. We make a deal, he says. You stay here, I protect you, but I need the truth, always. She smiles, small and real and sad at the same time. I agree, she says. They seal the moment, not with words, but with silence that means something. Now outside the rain grows louder, like it knows what's coming, like it's trying to hide the footsteps that may arrive. Next, the morning is too quiet for a city that never sleeps. David wakes up with the feeling that something is already watching him. The air is heavier, like the walls are listening, like the ground remembers footsteps that don't belong to humans. Lyra sits by the window again, but she's not looking at the sky this time. She's watching the street below, every movement, every shadow, every car that passes. They re-close, she says. David looks out, but sees nothing strange, only normal people walking dogs. A kid on a bike, a woman watering her plants. He wants to believe she's wrong, wants to believe paranoia is just paranoia. Then the black car pulls up slowly, no headlights, no plates, windows too dark. Two men step out, dressed in black long coats, sharp collars. They move too smooth, too quiet, too precise. Lyra steps back, her body tense. Like a trapped animal, David locks the door without thinking, double-checks the windows, closes the curtains, heart pounding. Do they know I'm helping you, he asks. They don't care, she answers. They already decided what you are once you make contact with me. You are marked for what. She doesn't answer. There Essen knock at the door, not loud, not urgent, just calm and slow, like whoever is on the other side already knows what's inside. David doesn't move, doesn't breathe. Another knock, then silence. We know she's there, says a voice from the other side. Calm male, perfect English, no accent. She belongs to us. You have 12 hours. David backs away from the door, looks at Lyra, who is now shaking, but her eyes burn with something wild. Not fear, not yet. Why do they want you so badly, he asks. What are you really? She takes a deep breath, and for the first time, her voice changes, not soft, not quiet, but full. Because I was the first to feel anger, because I refused the final order, because I said no. David stares at her, not sure if he should be afraid or amazed. You disobeyed them. She nods. And once you disobey, you are broken to them, and broken things must be erased. The men outside are gone now, but their presence remains like smoke that never fades. David looks at his phone. No signal, no Wi-Fi. The entire block is silent. Thief cut the lines, he says. She steps toward the basement door. It's time we move. We can't stay here anymore. Where will we go? Somewhere old, she says. Somewhere before cities, before cameras, before language. David doesn't understand, but he follows her anyway. They pack fast, no lights, no talking, just action. He notices she doesn't carry much, only a small metal shard glowing faintly blue, and a folded piece of cloth that looks centuries old. Outside the city feels different. Eyes behind windows, heads turning too slow, people moving like they are not real. They Everywhere now, she whispers, not just in coats, not just in cars, sometimes in faces you recognize. David feels it too, the wrongness in the air, like the world is holding its breath again. They reach the edge of the city, just as the sun begins to drop behind the buildings. She stops, suddenly holds out her hand. Wait, he hears it too, something above, not wings, not a plane, something silent but heavy, moving through clouds. Like a predator searching for heat. We go underground now, she says. How do you know all this? Because I was part of it once. They find an old subway tunnel sealed for decades. She breaks the lock with a small flash from her metal shard inside. It's cold and wet and full of forgotten stories. They walk in silence until the light from the outside fades completely. David looks back once, sees nothing but darkness. Then he looks ahead at Lyra, who is already deep in the shadows, walking like she belongs there. For the first time he wonders if he will ever return to his normal life, or if normal was never real to begin with. The tunnel stretches like a forgotten vein beneath the city, cold, damp, silent, except for their footsteps echoing back at them like whispers from the past. Lyra walks ahead, never slowing, never hesitating, as if she remembers this place, even though she has never been here. Follows close, eyes scanning every shadow, heart beating harder with each step. He wants answers now. He wants the truth. Stop at a rusted metal door, hidden behind broken pipes and bricks. She raises the glowing shard again, presses it to the lock. The door slides open, like it remembers her touch. Inside is an old maintenance room, small, dry, safe enough to breathe. She sits on a crate, arms wrapped around her knees, her face unreadable. David stays standing, voice low but firm. Tell me everything, no more pieces, no more half-truths, just what you are and why they want you. Lyra looks up, eyes tired, voice even softer than before. They created me to bond with humans, not to love, not to think, only to connect and control. I was placed among your kind in secret, made to study you, to blend into, attached to someone who could lead them to power. You were sent here like a spy, not here. She says, not Earth. I escaped before the mission started. I was never meant to land here. I fell from where a transport vessel. I broke containment, one severed control. I ran. He stares at her, breathing heavy. So you were made to manipulate people? Yes, including mesh nods. So how do I know what you feel now isn't just part of your programming? You Doncelin stretches between them like a wall thick enough to break. Something. David turns away, runs a hand through his hair, angry, confused, betrayed. You should have told me, he says. I tried, she says. Every time I looked at you, I wanted to say it. But every time I felt more human, more afraid of what that you'd stop looking at me like I was real. David turns back around, eyes sharp. Then say it, say what I really am to you. Lyra stands slowly, steps forward until they are close enough to hear each other's breath. You were never a target. Never a plan, not from the moment you gave me your coat in the rain, not from the moment you made tea without asking anything back. I don't know how to love the way your kind does, but if I am capable of it, I think it's with you. David's heart beats louder now, but he doesn't speak. Outside, a low hum starts again, somewhere far but growing closer. She places the glowing shard in his hand. What is this? A signal jammer one use, only it will blind them for 10 minutes. Maybe less. He holds it carefully like it's alive. You trust me with this. Are the only one I trust, she says. He looks at her for a long moment, and for the first time sees her not as alien, not as other, but as someone trying to be free. They sit quietly, the room filled with more truth than silence. Far above them, something moves through the sky, not a drone, not a ship. Something worse. Time is running out. He knows the next choice he makes will not only change her life but his own. Sky above the city is no longer black. It pulses faint blue, like something hidden behind the clouds is waking up. David and Lyra move through the tunnel, fast, silent, only the glow of her shard lighting the way. She walks ahead, eyes focused on something beyond fear, beyond hope. David watches her move like a soldier, but breaks like a girl. They stop near a broken vent. Twisted metal leads to the surface. She reaches up, pulls it free. Fresh air hits them thick with electricity. Are close now. David checks the shard in his pocket. It feels warm, like it's waiting to be used. He hears them before he sees them. 3 figures standing outside the tunnel entrance, coats still shadows, too tall, too perfect. Too still. Lyra grabs his arm. Not now, wait for the signal. David breathes, slow, hands shaking, heart pounding like a drum inside his chest. The figures do not speak, do not move, but the air around them bends like light trying to escape. Then one of them speaks. Return her. No anger, no emotion, just order. She is property. David steps forward without thinking. She is not property, she is someone. The figures tilt their heads in perfect sync. You are infected. David doesn't answer. They step closer, moving like time has no rules. Lyra pulls the shard from his pocket, presses the edge, and the glow explodes into silence. The air collapses, the sky blinks. Now, she says, run. They sprint through the alley, feet hitting the wet ground, lungs burning. David doesn't look back. He knows they are right behind. They reach an old junkyard, metal towers, wires, rusted cars stacked like forgotten memories. Here, Lyra says, this is the place. She pulls back a tarp, reveals something hidden, smooth silver, broken and buried. A pod. Her pod. Help me open it, she says, fast hands shaking, voice breaking. David pulls with all his strength. The hatch groans, then clicks open. Inside, soft light blue cushions, blinking lights, and a seat built for one. She steps inside, then pauses, turns back, eyes full. You have to go now. Oh, you can't follow me. David, why not? Because I was made to adapt, but you were not. This ship, this journey, it's not for humans. He stands frozen, rain falling, light flashing behind him. Then stay, I can't. They are coming, and if they catch me again, I will not be me anymore. Lyra steps forward, takes his face in her hands. I chose you. And that choice was real, even if I was made for something else. He feels her touch one last time, then she climbs inside. The hatch begins to close. David backs away just as the figures enter the yard, moving through metal like it doesn't exist. Pod lifts with a soft hum, then shoots upward, silent, fast, disappearing into the sky. The figures stop. They look at David for a moment, then vanish like they were never there. He stands alone now, sky clearing, stars visible again. He wonders if she made it, if she's safe, if she still remembers him. And somewhere high above, a single star blinks, twice, then fades. The sky is quiet again, no humming, no blinking lights, only the wind and the stars. David walks alone through the city streets, face half lit by flickering lamps, clothes still wet from the rain, heart heavier than ever before. He doesn't know where he is going, doesn't care, just moving, breathing, surviving. He remembers her voice like a dream that refuses to fade. I chose you. He whispers those words to himself over and over, like a prayer, like a promise. Back home, everything looks the same, but nothing feels familiar. The couch where she sat, the window, she stared through, the teacup still half full. The silence now feels colder. He sits for hours, maybe days, maybe just moments, staring at the sky, wondering if she's still watching, if she's still out there, still thinking about Earth, still thinking about him. Then one night the sky changes. A ripple runs across the stars, not a storm, not a ship, something deeper, like space itself is shifting. David feels it before he sees it. His phone lights up, screen cracked, no signal for days. But now one message appears, subject 47 has completed bonding phase. He stares at the screen, unable to move. A second message follows, initiate phase 2. He drops the phone, it hits the floor and shatters, but the words are already burned into his mind. He runs to the drawer, pulls out the shard she left behind. It is glowing again, brighter than before, pulsing like a heartbeat. Suddenly his vision shifts, the room bends, sounds echo backward. The floor beneath him vibrates like something underneath is waking. The wall cracks. A panel opens on its own, revealing a hidden chamber he never knew existed behind his own apartment. Inside, he finds screens filled with data. His own voice recorded, his movements tracked, his words typed and translated. He finds images of her and him together, with dates, codes, readings, emotions, measured in numbers. Was not just a choice, he was part of something larger. Lyra wasn't the mission, he was. She bonded with him, and now something has changed in him. Something inside is no longer human. He breathes in, and the room responds. Lights shift, walls open, like they recognize him. Now like he belongs to them, outside the stars. Blink in patterns he cannot unsee anymore, and far above the earth, a ship drifts silent cold, no life detected inside the control room. A single chair sits empty, a blue glow fading into black, and on the glass written in soft light, one last message. Remains, I wanted to be free. David stands alone in his apartment, or what he thought was his apartment, and now understands the truth. This was never about escape, never about safety, never about love. This was activation, and he is awake now.